What's up guys, welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host that wants another South Park game, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/TalesFromRetail. Like seriously, those first two games were insanely good, and this is coming from a dude that typically doesn't really enjoy turn-based combat, okay? Those games are amazing. Also, I'm not even really a fan of the show. I mean, it's funny, but I just don't watch it, so that's pretty telling.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.
We were just a little photo lab in the corner of a shop in a suburb of southeast London. This is around the early 90s. And we were just a little photo lab in a corner of a shop in a suburb of southeast London. But this was also a big money area. We also had quite a few celebrities, Jules Holland being just one of them. We had customers who would go away for a 6-week cruise along the Nile and come back with a shopping bag full of films. One of our regular customers did exactly that and came in with 55 films. I looked at her. No, not 1 hour. Go away, you whore. Come back in 3 days. Then she ran out the door, pretty much laughing her head off. She knew we'd get the work done as soon as we could. The guys on the counter took the films in and wrote out a job envelope. Just one job envelope. There are a number of reasons for doing it like that. But anyway, the films were all Kodak Ektar, ASA/ISO. Kodak, at the time, made 3 films in the Ektar range, which, if I remember right, were 25, 100, and 1000 ASA/ISO. But there was a problem, and if I was right, it looked as if it could be a big problem. I knew the customer well, and I was pretty sure I knew which camera she had. But there was a chance I was wrong and she might have used a different camera. So I processed just one film. I took one look at it as it emerged from the film processor, then swore. Up, down, and sideways. Then got the guys on the counter to phone her. Ask her what camera she used for these films, and I'll take a bloody big bet it's a compact. If it is, tell her she needs to come back in, and as soon as possible. While that was going on, and just to be 110% certain, even though I knew I was right, I ran a process control strip through the film processor so I had proof the film processor chemistry was okay. It was. She was back within an hour. With her camera, a compact camera, some of you will already see where this is a problem. A huge problem. Compact cameras were or are designed to use 100, 200, or 400 ASA/ISO films. The camera reads that checkerboard of metallic strips on the cassette so as to set the exposure meter for the film speed. And if the camera can't read that checkerboard of metallic strips on the film cassettes, it would automatically default to 100 ASA/ISO. What was wrong with that? It meant that every single negative would be massively overexposed, and that one film we had processed was literally solid black from one end to the other. I asked her where she got the film from. She told me she had been advised by the staff of a well-known pharmacy chain, named after a particular type of footwear, that this was the best film for what she wanted. I sighed. No, not the best, not even close to being the best. For a start, it's a professional film designed to be used in SLR cameras. Then I went through and explained what had happened. I also showed her the process control strip, explaining that I had checked the chemistry, just to make sure that it wasn't us that was the problem. She nodded understandingly. We advised her to go back to where she had purchased the films, tell them the problem, show them the film we'd processed, and see if they could pool process the rest of the films. We also told her it was extremely unlikely, more like impossible, but she had to give them a chance. Basically, pool processing a film makes it less sensitive, push processing does the opposite. Then, when it became evident they couldn't, to take them to the small claims court. We also told her something else. Do not, under any circumstances, enter just one claim for all the films, as she would be advised to do. Insist on doing one claim for each individual film. We told her it'd be a pain in the backside doing the paperwork, but worth it in the end. The reason for this is that it's the small claims court, and they have a maximum payout for a case. So if she won the maximum for all the films grouped together, it wouldn't be very much. But she could enter a separate claim for each film. And assuming she won, likely, it would be accumulative across all the claims. It gets added up at the end. She won the case and was awarded the price of the film, plus the price of the processing and printing, plus compensation. She told us that when the magistrate said he was awarding £65, including compensation, the solicitor for the other side had smirked, right up until the magistrate added, "for each case." She said the solicitor sat straight up when he heard that. "Pardon? What do you mean, each case?" The magistrate calmly informed him that since the plaintiff had entered a separate claim for each film, a total of 55 claims in all, and since the cases were all identical, he could pass one judgment to cover each individual case. Somehow, the solicitor had missed that there were 55 separate cases. Maybe he thought it was a typo. Who knows? Then the solicitor protested that she can't do that. But, of course, she could and had. So that would be £65 awarded for each claim. A total of £3,575. Apparently, the solicitor turned rather pale. £3,575. Back then, that was big money. The customer came in and gave me a whole case of my favorite German white wine. It's as smooth as silk, and the counter guys were also suitably rewarded. Then she purchased another 50 films. Fuji Reala 200 ISO, and went back and did the whole tour in Egypt all over again. Okay, that's pretty freaking cool. Good on this guy for helping her out and making sure she did separate claim forms for each of them, because holy crap, the difference from 65 to 3,575? Holy crap. Beautiful. This story's called Dramatic Idiot Thinks He Ate Something Toxic. Spoiler alert, he didn't. Last month, I started working at a store that caters to rural farmers. In the store, we have everything from feed for livestock to candy and clothing. It truly has a little bit of everything. I'm not rural myself, but I quite dig it. I say this because I see now that we get all types of customers. Sure, we mostly get people that have acres of land and livestock that need tending. We also get families coming in for pet food and clothing. There's no one that can't find anything at our store. Oh, and we give free popcorn to all of our customers. This detail will be important for this story. One day, I'm talking to a coworker about how his day is going and stuff. You know, just BSing and stuff. That's when a customer, on his cell phone, comes over in a huff and asks, "Where are the restrooms?" Not an uncommon question. They're in the back of the store and not clearly labeled. So we get that a lot. My coworker explains, from where we're standing, if you head straight back, they're behind the car batteries. Pretty simple and effective explanation. Not for this guy. He shouts, "I don't know where that is." I step in and say, "Sir, let me show you." I walk the man straight back, behind the car batteries, and lead him there. He says, "Thank you," and moves on. Or so I thought. As I walk around the store, helping more customers, I see this man at our service desk talking to one of the managers. I don't think too much of it, so I keep going about my business. I come back to the desk, and I see our store manager, head honcho, dealing with him as well. So immediately, I can see this guy is probably being just as high maintenance with them as he was with us about the restrooms. The store slows down and I get curious. I meander around the service desk so I can eavesdrop. What I gathered is this. The man was walking around with his bag of free popcorn. He picked up a chemical pond cleaner that uses a blue dye. He got some of the blue dye on his hands, didn't notice somehow, and continued to eat the popcorn. Once he noticed the dye on his hands, that's when he promptly began to freak out about anything and everything. Apparently, when we caught him on his way to the bathroom, he was going to the facilities to induce vomiting to excise whatever he thinks he ingested. Then he went to the front and began to raise hell. He had our managers on the phone with local health officials, our SDS team that handles our chemical incidents, and the manufacturer of the pond cleaner. He had our managers running the gauntlet for him. The man had his phone out taking pictures of everything. The department manager he was working with said to him, "Make sure you get a picture of the bottle where it says non-toxic." I didn't see his response, but I'm sure he was less than pleased with that remark. The situation escalated even further when he walked away from the service desk with our store manager following him close behind. The man shouted to the entire store, "This man threatened me! He made a threat to my well-being!" Now, my store manager is a big teddy bear of a guy. Southern gentleman. He doesn't have a malicious bone in his body, so we could all smell the drama and deceit coming off of this guy. After shouting that my store manager threatened him, the man finds me, looks at me, points at me directly, and says, "Sir, you were there and helped me find the bathroom. Did you see any chemical on my hands?" I shook my head and answered honestly, "Sir, I'll be honest, I wasn't looking or paying attention to your hands, so I can't say for certain what was on your hands." He went back to his phone call and walked away to another part of the store. That's when we all saw emergency services and EMTs enter the building with equipment to take someone out on a gurney. I couldn't believe it reached this point. The man was being overdramatic and completely irrational. That's when I walked away from the situation. The drama seemed to die down entirely, so I made my way to another side of the store where we have boots and shoes. One of my coworkers stopped me and said, "Hey man, if you have a weak stomach, I would walk over there." I was confused. I asked, "What's over there? Is it puke?" I asked, thinking the guy with the blue dye tried to vomit again. He said, "Nope, it's blood." My coworker walked away before I could pry for further details. As it turns out, this man was causing a commotion because he may have consumed a little bit of non-toxic blue dye. There was another customer on the other side of the store that had a seizure causing him to fall and hit his head on a set of shelves. The man was literally bleeding from his head as a result of this incident. That's why the EMTs and emergency vehicles arrived at our store, not for some pompous drama that didn't need to happen. All I could think after that is, I hope this guy felt like a royal jackass for making a fuss over some nonsense, while another human being that truly needed medical attention was lying in distress not even 50 feet away from him. You see, one of the problems with living in America is crap like this because retail stores are absolutely rampant with people with undiagnosed mental illnesses. Because down here in Texas, we have a lot of individuals that think psychologists are people that can read your mind. This story's called "Man Wants to Return Something We Don't Even Sell That He Bought from a Completely Different Company and Won't Take No for an Answer." So I spent about a year working in a shop that sold equipment and supplies for disabled and elderly people. Walking sticks, wheelchairs, electric scooters, and other more personal sundries. I actually liked the job, and all things being equal, I'd still be working there today, but that's a story for another day. My shifts were 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, then 9 to 1, 3 Saturdays out of 4, with the 4th Saturday off. Shop was closed Sundays. We had an engineer who did repairs and maintenance based out of our shop, and an elderly manager who worked Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and my Saturday off. We all got on well. Anyways, this incident happened on a Saturday, so I was alone in the shop. An older gentleman, I'd say mid to late 60s, came in carrying a plastic bag. He walks up to the counter where I'd been refilling the boxes of those rubber ends for walking sticks and crutches. They're called ferrules, just so you know. And I said hello and asked how I could help him. "I bought this the other day, but it's no good." He placed the bag down on the counter. "I'd like to return it." I didn't recognize him, but figured that the manager must have served him. So I automatically asked him if he has the receipt. He produced a sheet of white A4 paper, which seemed a little odd. Most items we sold came with just a regular till receipt, while larger items had a 3-layer white, yellow, pink form. White copy went with the customer, yellow in our records, and pink to the taxman. Most of what we sold was VAT-free, so we needed to keep records of what we sold and to who. However, what he offered me wasn't the flimsy receipt I was expecting, but just a regular sheet of printer paper. I looked at it and saw that it was from another shop, maybe a mile away across the other side of the town center. "Oh, you bought this from other shop?"
"Yes,"
he nods.
"Your other shop, the one on road."
"No, we're company name." I point to my name badge, which clearly states who I work for. "Their other shop."
"Yes, but you're the same,"
he insists. "We sell similar products, but we're a completely different company." I opened the bag to see what was inside. I honestly can't remember exactly what it was, but while we sold similar items that did the same job, we'd never sold that particular item. It even had the price label on it, which clearly stated that it was, indeed, from the other shop. "We don't even sell this. You'll have to take it back to other shop."
"I don't want to walk all the way down there,"
he exclaimed. And that much I could get behind, given it was raining pretty heavily that day.
"I want you to refund it now."
"I'm sorry, sir, but I can't give a refund for something you didn't buy from us, and we don't even sell."
"But you're the same,"
he repeated, more insistently this time. "No, we sell similar products, but they're a completely different company." I so wanted to pinch the bridge of my nose while I struggled to come up with a comparison he might understand. It would be like buying something from Supermarket A, then wanting to return it to Supermarket B. They're both supermarkets, but they're not the same company.
"But you're the same,"
he repeated again. At this point, I'm starting to wonder if he had some form of dementia. But aside from his inability to grasp the concept that two shops could sell similar items and yet not be the same company, he seemed fine. "No, sir, we are not." I do my level best not to sound condescending. "We are shop name. They are other shop. We have no connection with them besides selling similar items. If you want to return this, you'll have to go to other shop."
"Are you gonna give me my refund or not?"
he asks, clearly convinced that I'm trying to get out of refunding him his money. "No, sir." I remain calm. "I cannot refund you for something that you did not buy from us." He muttered something about trading standards and the police, then stormed off out of the shop, leaving his items and receipt behind. I put them in the bag, put the bag under the counter, and called the owner. I explained what happened, which quickly had him laughing, and he told me to just leave it under the counter in case the man came back, and if he did, give him the number for the main office. The shop I worked at was one of the 4 the company operated. The man never came back, and we never got contacted by trading standards or the police. As far as I know, the bag, the item, and the receipt are still in the stockroom to this day. As an aside, the other shop closed suddenly. As in, the owners left in the middle of the night, not even telling the staff, after they were caught by trading standards selling a secret shop or something completely unsuitable for their stated needs, but cost twice as much as what they actually needed was. I, on the other hand, always made sure I sold someone the best fit for their needs, even going so far as to refuse a sale once. But again, a story for another day. Wow, look at this guy. He has morals. Look, see, he said so. Appreciate it.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.